we still have some job to do with the general subject matter we've been talking for the past 5 or 6 weeks. That is the subject matter of coherence and cohesion. We write sentences in a pattern in order for information to flow from one sentence to another. We construct a paragraph with certain patterns so that a sense of coherence is created with certain information, certain type of information appear in certain places, such as we always put the topic part of your writing in the first sentence, in the very beginning, and then in the next sentence, we support your claim, support the topic with what? With example, with evidence, okay? And then perhaps there are some further explaining job to do in the next sentence. And in the end, we link back to the topic, to the subject matter we are writing at the moment, okay? The so-called PEL structure. It's about creating the sense of cohesion. Remember, it's cohesion. Cohesion or coherence. These are the effects, or rather, the feel we create for the readers. It's not like grammar. This is called passive voice. That is called infinitive, and so on and so forth. There are strict rules concerning regulating the syntactical, the grammatical phenomenon. No. Coherence, these are, let's say, much less strict terms. Although we talk about them as if we're talking about rules, laws, principles, please remember they only serve to create certain sense. By no means they should be treated like very strict laws. Unlike the laws of the physical world, Newton's law, if I release an apple from here, it will certainly hit the ground within a few moments. It does not work like that. It does not even work like the grammatical, syntactical rules I just talked about. Such feels of coherence, such sensations, such feelings, such perceptions we created from a text, a well-structured text, which we call coherence and cohesion. They are what? What kind of law are they? They are laws, they are principles of the nature, of probabilistic nature. Probably, if we organize this passage, this writing in this way, according to this principle or law, we are likely to create a sense of flowing, create a text that is coherent and cohesive. I think we should stop here briefly. Okay, we stop talking about cohesion and coherence for the moment. Although I have also another very important part to talk about coherence later. Okay, it's about global coherence or comprehensive coherence, which means we are going to deal with coherence at a larger, a higher level. That is to say, global. What does global mean? Whole picture, right? We are going to deal with the structure not only of the paragraph, but within a passage, constituting a few or several or many paragraphs. Okay? We are going to talk about that important chapter later. Today, I want to turn to something simpler because we have been given mental challenges and intellectual challenges throughout the past 6 or 5 weeks. We have been prepared to deal with the better, the beautiful part, the interesting, the charming part of writing, the part that makes us feel elevated and beautified part of writing. That is writing with grace. How to write with grace, how to write gracefully, how to write eloquently, how to write with eloquence, how to write with grace. They basically mean the same thing. In simpler word, how to write beautifully. Okay, in this chapter, we are going to talk about three main things, three main subjects, all of which combined to serve the purpose of producing beautifully written texts. They are concision, shape, and elegance. Concision concerns the choice of words. Shape and elegance concerns the choice of sentence pattern most of the time. How to balance your sentence, how to make your sentences begin, how to make your sentences and in order for them within the scope of one sentence, they look balanced, they look symmetric, they look beautiful. Between sentences, there are also things to balance because the pattern we employ in one sentence, of course, can be copied, can be emulated in the next sentence. But if we use one pattern over and again, that will create repetition and in turn will get bored easily. Perhaps after three similar same sentence pattern, we are ready to get asleep. So between sentences, we should also consider some balance, some variation, some changes, in order that there is a balance between sentences. I mean the patterns, the balance of patterns. Okay, doesn't matter, we'll talk about them later. First, let's talk about concision. What does concision mean? Concision? Or concise, what does concise mean? The adjective form is concise. Noun form is concision. What does the word mean?
It's a synonym to precise.
Precise, okay. Clear, precise, short, okay. These are all synonyms, right? Good. The problem is, you see, here it is mentioned, even though we abide by the rules, the principles we have talked so far, such as you come up with a well-crafted introduction, you put your subject matter into topics and put them at the end of the sentence, make them appear in the right position of a sentence. You are abiding by the rules, principles we talk about so far, are abided by also. Even though these are done, we can still craft something like this. In my personal opinion, it is necessary that we should not ignore the opportunity to think over each and every suggestion offered. We can still come up with a sentence, a piece of text that is far from satisfactory, that looks redundant, that looks packed with redundant, useless expressions and express far less content, far less idea with too many words. In my personal opinion, it is necessary that ignore the possibility to think over, so on and so forth. Here is the revision of that sentence we just saw. We should consider each suggestion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 words in comparison with two-line sentences. How many words? 20, more than 20 words. If we make some revision, 5 words will do the job nicely. Because the 20 or 30 word sentence we just saw is packed with flaws. The flaw being what? The sin being too wordy, too many words. In my personal opinion is always personal, right? So personal is useless, redundant. Don't need in my opinion, okay? Think over and not ignore. They both mean what? Consider. Repetition. Each and every typical cliche, redundant. Here are 6 principles for being concise, for writing concisely, 6 of them. Take a picture, and I'll explain them one by one. First one, delete the word that mean little or nothing. Get rid of redundancy. Number 2, delete the words that are repetitious. Number 3, delete the words that are already implied by other words. Repetition again. Replace a phrase with a word. As we can remember, we said a few sessions ago, we construct a sentence with simple subject, with a single action noun, verbs, right? So a verb, substantial, a specific action word, verb is always preferable than phrases. But then again, many a time, a phrase cannot be avoided because we only have so many single verbs, actionable verbs. They have to be complemented, supplemented by other vocabulary choices. Okay, change negatives into affirmatives. Delete useless subject and adverbs. Wordiness, again, wordiness, number 6. Okay, let's take a look at these 6 principles one by one. The first one, delete meaningless words. Take a look at the examples that are given. Very common in daily life, in daily speaking, oral expressions are packed with such short phrases. We as speakers use them all the time as if we are unconsciously trying to clear our throat. It's not about clearing throats. Okay? There is nothing wrong with your throats. You're not having a cold or influenza. No, it's not. It's always a cognitive difficulty that is causing the employing of such phrases, because simply we need more time to think. Such meaningless words, they create sound, so they give the appearance, what? They give the appearance of speaking. That is it. But they don't carry meaning with them. They only serve to buy more time for our brain to work out some meaningful, some substantial mental content. But when we are writing, when we have all the time we want to have, and we are trying to put our thinking into serious, into formal structure, give them formal and strict and serious structure that deserves other similarly serious people, the attention of such similarly serious people. We need to get rid of these seemingly meaningless part of our speech. Okay? So this is the example sentence that is given. You see, full of these useless throat clearings. Actually, certain factors, basically, essentially, any particular, they don't make much sense. They don't make any sense at all, in fact. You see, when I speak, I use such redundant, meaningless expressions all the time. Simply means I'm struggling, I'm running out of idea. But in writing, we better get rid of all of them. And in this way, the text is constructed in a concise manner. Okay, the bell has rung, so we take a 10 minutes break. Okay, let's take 10.